we also have the whole of society resilience practices led by the President's office. And we also want to enhance our defense industrial capabilities, pushing forward how to make our defense posture stronger in this region. And as the recent article of Healthscape for Taiwan just published in February this year, they are stretching the importance of drone and asymmetric warfare, including air, surface, and also undersea, how to improve the overall defense. And that's very important, so that we have the one session this afternoon talking about the drone strategy in Taiwan, how we can strengthen Taiwan's defense preparation in this area. We are still in the infancy, as I can see it, because we are seeing what's happening in the Russia-Ukraine war and the importance of the drone warfare.
Pressure, we are resigning military threatened cyber attacks, disinformation, economic pressures, attempt to weaken public trust from within. The threatened by default informed, but they are deeply connected. This first island chain is not just a line on the map, it's a community of democracies and the partners stretching from Japan, South Korea to Taiwan. And the Philippines, each has own history, priority, and the national circumstance. Yes, together they play a vital role in stability of Indo-Pacific reality across the region. Taiwan lives with them every day. The Philippines face its South China Sea, Japan Sea, and Korea in the East China Sea. Has importance in preserving regional stability. This is why close cooperation among the countries, the first island chain, is so important and necessary. Each country has an important role to play. Japan being defense capacity and leadership. South Korea contributed industrial strength and innovation. Taiwan offered democratic resilience, technological excellence, and central role in the global semiconductor supply chain. The Philippines provided vital geography and maritime access. Together, this strength can reinforce resilience and the right course of the cohesion. They connect effectively. The United States plays a pivotal role as a Pacific power. The United States can help sustain the coordination need to ensure the defense cooperation, supply chain security, regional preparedness, and integrity, credible and durable. This is how the free, open, and secure Indo-Pacific can be.
To the Formosa Republican Association for convening this strategically important dialogue. It's a great honor to join so many esteemed friends from Taiwan, the United States, Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, who are all concerned about peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific. And we are gathered here today not only to exchange views and assess the regional situation. We are confronting a reality that is becoming clearer day by day. The first island chain is no longer a line on a map. It has become major front line for global freedom, democracy, and order. and our shared priority remains unchanged to prevent war and preserve peace. But peace is never sustained by hope alone. Peace endures when those who seek to destroy it recognize that they cannot succeed. And this is why truly durable peace must rest on credible deterrence. In the face of mounting military pressure, gray zone intimidation, cognitive warfare, and economic coercion from the People's Republic of China, we can no longer rely on independent defense and response systems. We must move toward building a collective and coordinated democratic shield for the First Island chain. And dear friends, the challenges that we face today are not isolated incidents. Gray zone coercion of South Korea, ongoing maneuvers in the waters and airspace around Japan, increasing maritime threats on the Philippines, military pressure on the United States in the Western Pacific, not to mention the encirclement trios, blockade rehearsals, and cognitive warfare targeting Taiwan are not unconnected. All these incidents are interconnected with one another. They are part of an overall and coordinated security threat. I would therefore, like to emphasize one key idea for your discussion. We must begin to understand that the First Island chain through the lens of a single theater. The Taiwan Strait, the East and South China Seas, the Miyako Strait, the Basque channels, and their surrounding sea and air spaces may appear to be separated domains and separated issues, but from the perspective of authoritarian expansionism, gray zone tactics, electromagnetic disruption, supply chain coercion, and cognitive warfare, they are increasingly being integrated into the same strategic framework. And this means that the First Island chain should no longer be regarded as a collection of isolated points of defense. It must instead be understood as a single theater where we jointly monitor the situation, issue joint warnings, conduct joint deployments, and jointly maintain resilience. Within this strategic and within that single theater, unmanned systems are becoming a key component of the democratic shield. Unmanned aerial systems are the eyes that never sleep. Unmanned service vessels are low-cost, high-endurance guardians of the ocean. And unmanned underwater vehicles and underwater sending nodes are essential to promoting ports, sea lanes, and undersea infrastructure. We should not try to compete symmetrically. What it needs is an asymmetrical framework that raises the cost of invasion, disrupts tempo, and extends resilience. Unmanned systems are central to that strategy. I want to underline that unmanned systems not only have military applications, they force us to take a fresh look at the low altitude airspace as more than a battle space. It's also a space of governance. For Taiwan, low altitude airspace is tied to daily coastal patrols, bridge inspections, mountain search and rescue, port security, disaster response, and logistics for outlying islands. As these peacetime tasks increasing rely on unmanned systems, low altitude governance is becoming part of national resilience. In other words, building the democratic shield should not start in wartime. It should be built up step by step in peacetime governance. And ladies and gentlemen, if unmanned devices are the nervous system of the democratic shield, then democratic supply chains are its backbones. We cannot talk about frontline deployments without mentioning flight control systems, sensors, batteries, communications, modules, cybersecurity, validation, maintenance, and rapid replenishment capacity. In a crisis, it's built in advance through mutual connections, mutual understanding, mutual complementary, and mutual trust. In the end, trust comes down to supply chains and institutions. If an unmanned system can be paralyzed by wartime shortages, if a data link cannot interoperate with partners in a crisis, if a maintenance structure cannot be replenished quickly, and if a training system has not reached optimal capacity in peacetime, then even the most advanced equipment will struggle to provide credible deterrence. And looking ahead, the key to a democratic shield for the first island chain does not depend on how many platforms we can acquire. It comes down to whether we can build a comprehensive framework that links research, development, manufacturing, validation, training, maintenance, and deployment into the one coherent system. And ladies and gentlemen, let's return to my central point. When we speak today about the first island chain, a single theater, unmanned systems, and a democratic shield, we are not calling for war. On the contrary, we want to prevent conflict. We emphasize deterrence not because we want confrontation, but because we know that peace is more likely to endure when aggressive authoritarianism leaders understand that they cannot prevail. So let me conclude with one thought. A democratic shield for the first island chain is not a war. It's a network. It is not a static line.